Good morning, New Life. My name is Ric Chang, and I'm stepping up as shepherd of Hyderabad House Church, previously shepherded by Peter Chung. For some background, I grew up as a non-Christian in a household in Taiwan that was put into an international school with my brother that happened to be a missionary school. Through the mandatory Bible classes, I became equipped with the skills to read the Bible and became familiar with the many stories despite not truly believing in them. The childish faith of a first grader, scared of death and hell, was quickly replaced by skepticism and apprehension towards anything God-related, and turned to bullying those weaker than me as a way to feel safe from the loneliness and fear I felt at home and at school. It was only after God saved me in middle school from myself, after my mental health troubles boiled over from a family crisis, that I began to truly follow Jesus. I connected with God and got really into theology and eventually was baptized my senior year of high school. But despite all of this, I had chosen to live as a lone wolf Christian where I trusted no one except God himself and was especially suspicious of churches thanks to my school experience. Once I came to Houston to attend Rice for college, it was with this selfish and prideful mindset that I sought to find a church that would serve me the way I wanted. In the first 3 weeks of school, I attended 12 different ministries. Yep, but very, very busy. At an intervarsity worship event on campus, I met this buff Asian guy named Aaron Lin. And I told Aaron that I was looking to visit New Life next, and he surprised me by telling me that he was a shepherd of one of those house churches and invited me to visit Mongolia House Church, then known as Sichuan House Church. After that, under Aaron's recommendation to visit another house church, I ended up choosing to visit Tunisia House Church simply for the reason that Leah, a freshman I knew from my residential college, was in that house church. I was aversive in those first few house churches, still afraid to trust in these strangers despite the open sharing and in the laughter and joy that seems to be had in there. At service, I sat alone in the very last row of the sanctuary as Pastor Eric was going through his "This is why we do what we do" sermon series. Little did I know that series would last for 10 more sermons and the entire semester. But it didn't need to for me, because I think I was immediately convinced about the methods of house church and how it works, and the service and the love and the joy that really undergirds all of it immediately right after. After service, the car driving me back to campus decided to get lunch at H Mart. As a student that just moved from a foreign country, I didn't have enough money to eat off campus at all. At H Mart, I looked out at the menu sign in panic and in fear with an empty wallet and felt alone again. Benny Utama, a senior at the time in CMU House Church, noticed me staring helplessly at that sign and offered to buy me lunch. I don't remember what I ate that day, but I'll always remember the $10.16 of food that it took to get me to join New Life. It was such a small number, $10.16, but it was insurmountable for me with my empty wallet and still adjusting to US living costs. That showed me, I think, what house church was and being a Christian was all about, service and love. So that day, I decided to join Tunisia House Church. Sorry, CMU. I guess they're not here either. At house church, I saw how these college students bared themselves to one another. We laughed with each other, sometimes at each other. We cried with each other and rejoiced in God with each other. After numerous testimonies and deep sharing during college retreat, my first ever retreat, I looked up and discovered that I had somehow ended up in this spiritual family thing that Pastor Eric kept going on and on about. These people gave meaning to the phrase brothers and sisters in Christ, and I felt like I belonged for the first time in my life. In them, I found the same love that had saved me years ago, and it was with this newfound hope that I spent the rest of my freshman year. House church turned my hostile sarcasm into smiles and laughters, my pessimism into realistic hope, my pride into love for others, and it was with them that I was finally able to stop hating myself as I had my entire life. But the summer afterwards in Taiwan, before my sophomore year, had left me in bad shape. I had returned to a tumultuous family life again, and the death of my grandfather, the rediscovery of deep and dark parts I thought were long gone, and the looming prospect of a Chinese invasion of my home with the war in Ukraine brought me back fragile and holding on by a string. There was one Friday night when I had stayed up the previous night all before, haunted by all of these thoughts. I was ashamed and terrified of going to house church because of my broken state and afraid. And that was the only day I have ever missed house church that night. After a mental breakdown in the chapel on campus, I found myself at the door where our house church met once more, nearing the end of house church time. I opened the door with fear of the pity and disappointment that would certainly be thrown my way. But when the door was open, I was greeted with warm smiles as they celebrated that I had come at all, despite all that had happened. Through the love and support of Tunisia House Church, shepherded then by Peter Chang and Uni Park, now we have multiplied into Hyderabad House Church. I have reconnected through them with God and learned to trust Him as my own plans fell apart. Now a junior, these moments are what I think back on most when I reflect on what House Church has done for me. The trust and belonging that no matter what happens, your house church is there for you. Immense love that manifests itself in small acts, paying for somebody's meal, a simple greeting. House church gave me hope and melted the walls I had built over the years. House church taught me that truth is not better than love, but rather truth manifests itself in love. More than anything, house church for me is a spiritual family and my true family. From Peter, I learned to love enthusiastically, to serve 100% all of the time, and to follow up with people outside of house church, and to sit in the front row whenever God is involved, not in the last. From uni, I learned to be gentle, with those I talk to, and to share with love and true connection, and to put yourself out there to being vulnerable and accept others when they are vulnerable to you. Through house church, I learned to live out Psalm 126:5. Those who sow in tears of joy will reap in shouts of joy, and house church is where I shout with joy. Hyderabad House Church, I commit to praying for each of you by name daily, doing personal devotions to assist your spiritual growth as well as mine, and to surrender my wills for God's will, being there for you to laugh, to cry, to rejoice, and to imitate Christ in sacrificial love. Leah, Donovan, Emma, Josh, and Daniel, I love each and every one of you, though I never say enough. Thank you.